What up, everybody? Wanted to jump on here because I've been getting a plethora of, man, that light is just in the way, dude. Oh my. Okay, give it a second here. Um, let's start over. All right, so I wanted to jump on here because a lot of people have been asking me questions about intermittent fasting. For those of you that don't know what intermittent fasting is, I want to break that down with you guys really quickly. Answer a few questions that I've been getting from people that have been trying to do it and been struggling with time eating, restricted eating windows, when to start, when to stop, and as well as a few other questions that I'll jump into once I get things going. But essentially, if I were to break down intermittent fasting, it's an eating strategy where you don't eat for a select amount of hours throughout the day. There was a book that I read, and I posted a video a few months back called The Warrior Diet by Ori. That's O-R-I. And he goes through the method of the Warrior Diet, which is 16 hours of time restricted eating, meaning that you're not taking in any calories, and you have an 8-hour eating window. That the purpose of this whole eating strategy, I wouldn't even call it a diet, because essentially you're not really changing how much you're eating, you're changing when you eat. So it's a time scheduled out plan. And so let's take a few steps back and let's talk about what happens when you are in that time restricted window. And so what happens to the body after roughly 12 to 14 hours is your body doesn't have energy, or it doesn't have calories in the body. So what this does is, when your body is fighting and struggling for food, for energy, it has only one other resource, and that is your fat storage, or whatever's left over in your body. And so what it'll do is it'll start taking away targeted fat in your body, and your metabolism in your body starts working like a fat burning machine. And so during that 14 to 16 hour is optimal for fat burning. This leads me to my next question is, okay, I'm not eating anything, will I lose muscle? And based on the clinical studies that I've read from Dr. Fong, from Rhonda Patrick, from other well-established, credible resources in the fitness industry or endurance training industry, they have concluded that during that window, your body, relatively speaking, will not take away muscle. You will preserve your muscle. Especially, one of the biggest questions I get is, hey, you're working out in the morning. Does that affect with building muscle? And based on what I've been reading, researching online, and the books I've been reading, is just not the case. If you take care of your body, if you give it the proper nutrition with recovery during your eating window, then your body will not naturally start taking away muscle if that isn't the case. So that's one point I wanted to establish. And recently I got another question from somebody asking me, I've been doing this 16-8 Warrior Diet method, but for me, my work schedule, I don't get home, or I don't eat dinner until late. Like, I'm busy, I'm working late hours. I don't get home until probably around 7:30, 8, and I probably eat around 9 to 10. That is totally fine. Like I was saying in the video earlier, it doesn't matter when you eat necessarily. It's just the point of the scheduled diet is, once you stop eating that last meal for the day, i.e. if you're going to stop eating at 10 p.m. at night, and you have to realize, like, okay, 12 hours go by, it's 12 a.m. I have 4 hours, 2 to 4 hours, where I want to get into that state where my body is going to beginning stages of starting to take away, it has no energy, so it's going to start taking away all the fat, or spotted fat, in my body. And so it is entirely possible, if you go end your last meal at 10 o'clock, go 14 to 16 hours, and lose fat and get the benefits with intermittent fasting. That's definitely a possibility. And another issue that a lot of people have been dealing with are when I do have that 8 hour window, what should I be eating? Like, what are some strategies that I do that have benefited me? And the way I want to answer that is to give a little background. I started serious intermittent fasting for about 3 years now, and I've done clean bulks in the winter. And recently, since November, I was weighing in at 225. Started taking my diet really serious to cutting phase, and since November till now, my diet plan, and right now I'm weighing in at 191, 190, so I've lost roughly 30 pounds pretty easily, effortlessly. And I would say that the best way to go about your diet from a macros perspective, and I'll keep it super simple. I'm not going to dive into the types of foods specifically, but I'm just going to give you a broad spectrum of what you want to have a good sense of. And for lunch, I'll fast. Taking a few steps back, at dinner I'll eat anywhere from 6 to 8. We'll go with 8, and so at 8 o'clock I'm done eating. When I move forward around the clock, I'll drink a cup of coffee in the morning. Yes, I'm taking in somewhat a minuscule amount of calories, but not to the point where my body is going to be broken out of my fast. It's still going to have the capability and the benefits of my metabolism jump starting and my body getting into what people would say starvation mode, but it's going to start breaking down fat and burning fat right around anywhere from 10 o'clock. And so I'll be fasting until roughly around noon. My first meal and how I go about my approach with diet is for lunch, or for my first meal, it's high proteins, high fats, low carbs, complex carbs. So for me, I keep it really simple. I'm just going to get my protein in first thing. I worked out in the morning roughly 6 hours ago, so my body actually starts getting sore. Like if you work out for me, I start my lift at 5 a.m. So by the time it's 10 o'clock, my muscles are already getting sore. Like it's a weird phenomenon, but I know and I can read my body, I understand what's going on. And so I know that my body needs nutrients. It needs something to take in, some sort of energy. And so around noon, I'll take my high protein, high fat meal, and then in the middle of the day before dinner, like anywhere from like 3 to 4, 2 to 4, that in that window, I'll eat some sort of fruit. I'll have a simple carb. It'll maintain my insulin levels. I'll eat an apple, have a protein shake with a fruit, some sort of smoothie, something like that. Nothing too extreme, not too much sugar, because a lot of times you need to understand that if you take in a fruit smoothie after you work out, that's taking in anywhere from 40 to 60 grams of sugar. And so that is not good for your body as far as your metrics for your daily intake. You don't want to take in that much sugar. So I'm taking in one serving of a fruit. That'll tie me up, as well as, most of the time it'll be a fruit, but sometimes it'll be fruit and high protein. So I'll have a protein shake, or I'll have a protein bar, anything like that of that nature. And then for dinner, it's what I love about this diet is it's super flexible. If I'm on the go, super busy, I'll just go to Chipotle. I'll go to a nice, somewhat healthy place, and at the end of the day, I'm losing weight. I'm not being too strict with my calories. I'm not counting my calories, but I have a good census of what I'm going to be consuming. And so I want to wrap it up with that. I hope that helps with answering a few of your guys' questions. If you have any more questions about intermittent fasting, strength training, or like hypertrophy training, muscle hypertrophy training, please leave a comment below and leave as many questions as you can. If you want to ask me direct questions as well, you can reach out to my Instagram. My Instagram is at cbruner37. I appreciate you guys' time. Have a wonderful rest of your night and make today count. Peace.